Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome back. This is the Get Right Fantasy Network with me, Mike Herrick, aka Classic Mike, and this is our Week 3 active and inactive show. I'm going to be going over news since our Friday show, and then at 11:30, or when news comes in, I'm going to give you guys the actives and inactives for our 1 p.m. games, what is it, 11 o'clock over there. So I will also give some casual DFS, value picks as well after we go over actives and inactives. If you have any start sit questions leading up, make sure you guys throw them in the chat, and I will try to get to them as soon as possible. We also have super chats on as well for any immediate responses. I will stop the show just to answer your question first, but go ahead and drop your questions in the chat, and I will try to answer them as we go. Be sure to include your league size, the type of league, PPR scoring, so I can give you the best answer I possibly can. I'm going to have the banner below just for you guys. It's going to have our list of shows that are coming up. For those that are new to the show, this is our show list for everybody that needs to know. We're going to be back here tomorrow to do our waiver wire ads at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern. And then, of course, on Tuesdays, we're going to have Tycoon in the Fantasy Boardroom, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, Frank and Rasta will be back with buy low, sell high targets, roster management, things like that. That's going to be at 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Phil will then bring you right up to Thursday Night Football on the Extra Point. So make sure you guys check out his show as well. That will be at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then on Friday, we're going to have our two shows. One is going to be on Friday at, this says 8. It's actually 9 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Sorry, let me try that again. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then it will be the next show will be at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. These West Coast people killing me over here. It's okay though. So we're going to go over some injury news prior to make sure everyone is aware of things. First, I'm going to say some, hi to Joe in the chat. What's going on, Joe and Ray? I love seeing you guys here on a Sunday morning. I'll get to your questions in 2 seconds. Some injury news that we want to know of. I just got something 2 seconds ago. It looks like Taysom Hill will be out today. He was downgraded to doubtful yesterday, I think it was. So he is out today versus the Eagles. So that is some breaking news for you guys. Justin Herbert is listed as questionable at this point, but to me, he's on the bad side of questionable. Right now, I would strongly guess he's not playing today. Easton Stick would be getting the start. And even if he does start, I think he's going to be limited, if anything, and not be able to produce what you want him to. So I'm a little bit low on Justin Herbert. I pretty much have him at the very bottom of my rankings at this point. T. Higgins is no longer on the injury report. Zach Taylor said he will be starting on Monday. So you will see him on Monday night. This will be the first time Joe Burrow has had both Chase and Higgins this season. This should be fun. Really excited to see what happens. Joe Mixon did not travel with the team today. He is listed as out. Cam Akers will start since Dameon Pierce is also listed as out. We have a lot of players that are out today. Raheem Mostert and Kenneth Walker, they are both listed as doubtful, but trending towards being out. It looks like also that means for this, Zach Charbonnet will be leading the backfield for the Texans. Two tight ends are also out. Another two tight ends are out. Evan Ingram and George Kittle both were listed as out as of, I think, Saturday night. So they will be out for Monday's. Well, Ingram will be out for Monday's game. Kittle will be out today. This opens things up for guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and Jawan Jennings. So make sure you guys have them out of your lineup if you haven't already. All right, let's get to some of your questions here. We have Waddle. Oh, well, first it's Ray. But we have Waddle or Xavier Worthy, full PPR. This is a tough one for me. I like Waddle better. I like Waddle a little bit better in this particular matchup just because of the talent. But I got Waddle and Xavier Worthy at 27 and 29. I think the QB is going to be my tiebreaker here. I'm not high on Worthy at this point, but I think I'm going to go with Worthy for this particular matchup. I don't trust Skylar Thompson to do what Tua does, so I think I'm going to go Worthy here. Even though, like I said, I'm pretty low on Worthy as a whole. Carr or Stroud? I love Stroud in this matchup. I think if memory serves me, I have Stroud at, where do I have him? At 8. I have Derek Carr at 12. So for me, they're both, QB1s in this. I think I'm going to go Stroud in this particular matchup. He did very well against the Cowboys. So it's hard for me to not say Carr. But I like what Stroud has all around him. Overall, I think he is going to do okay. Joe Ortiz goes, Stroud has been mediocre. Can we expect a breakout today, or can I go with Daniels and husband rushing upside? His rushing upside. I was like, what the hell? So I'm going to stick with Stroud regardless. Stroud is a better player overall. Daniels still, his rushing floor helps him a little bit, but I'm sticking with Stroud 100% in this particular matchup. We got Fundamental Bear. What's going on, Fundamental Bear? Glad to have you here. If you're not already subscribed, be sure you guys subscribe and like to the show as well. He says, pick 2, please. Of course. Demarcus Robinson, George Pickens, or Rico Dowdle. Half point PPR. Nice. So in this particular case, I'm probably going to lean more wide receiver heavy and go Marcus Robinson and Pickens. I do like Dowdle a little bit, but he hasn't really shown me anything spectacular to make me want to go down that road. They are facing Baltimore. Where's Baltimore on my list of? Yeah, Baltimore currently is like 8th or 9th against the run. I'm going to stick with DeMarcus Robinson and Pickens for now. I don't like both. I don't like Pickens a ton. Just my own personal thing and like stats with him and his current situation. But I think Robinson and Pickens are probably your best bet in this scenario. Jay Bells, what's going on, man? Glad to meet you. Hope you guys are liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Full PPR. Calvin Ridley versus the Packers. Pickens versus the Chargers. Or Brian Thomason Jr. versus the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, not huge on Pickens, but I get the matchup in this case. I think I'm going to go with Ridley and Brian Thomas Jr. Just because Buffalo, if I remember correctly, one of their top corners is out, as well as their best linebacker in Bernard. So I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr., especially with Evan Ingram out as well. They're going to get him a little bit more involved. So you wanted me to pick 2, and I think those are my 2. Ridley, and Brian Thomas Jr. here. Whew. All right. So we got Michael Lopez. Morning. Where do I need to upgrade? Okay. So he goes, I have Fields, Goff at quarterback, Rashad White, Dobbins, Walker, Chandler, Ballin, Akers. At running back, London Chase, Addison, Lad McConkey, and Rashid Shaheed. And then Pitts with the Chargers defense. Okay. It's full PPR. Upgrade wise, I would probably say at running back, White being your RB1 is going to be a tough season overall. I think your QBs are going to be just fine moving forward. I think Goff has had a rough couple of weeks. If anything, he's also a little bit of an upgrade that you might need. A lot of people have been starting Baker over him, which honestly, I don't blame them. His home splits are much better than his away splits, but he is in a dome for, I think, 13 out of 17 games this season. So it's hard not to play a guy like Goff, and he tends to do better in domes than he does even with his home away split. So I would just kind of hold off right now at QB, but running back wise, I think is your only, real big place that you're going to need to upgrade just a smidge, just because of Walker being out and, hurt. I do like what you have otherwise. London and Chase will be fine with Shaheed. Lad will come into his own. Addison, I just don't like a ton. I would try to find a way out of that. Kyle Pitts is fine. I understand he's being underutilized, but don't worry. You guys got to remember this is almost like week 5 of the preseason, or the first game of the year, essentially was last week. So now everybody's kind of getting up to speed and kind of getting their offenses where they need to be. So I wouldn't stress too much about it. Give it another week. Chargers defense this week is fine. I have no problem with that. I understand the matchup for this particular game and why you would want to use something like that against the Steelers. I might go a different route, to be honest, just because Justin Fields has been playing well. Chargers defense is not fantastic. They're going to be a little bit more on the field with Easton Stick at QB if that becomes the case. So for me, I might want to go a different direction. So that's my only 2 cents about that. But otherwise, not a horrible team at all. So Sean versus Sean, who do you think got the better side of a one-on-one trade, Kamara for Sun God? I think right now the Kamara side probably ended up doing a little bit better here. I like Sun God for rest of the season, but I think for like the short term, it would be Kamara. But long term, I definitely think the Sun God side. So, Jables, don't worry, I knew what you meant. I definitely knew what you meant. George Play 01, what's going on, man? He says pick one tight end non PPR. All right, so we're not thinking about PPR. Gesicki, Strange, or Colby Parkinson. Okay. In this case, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards either Parkinson or Strange. Gesicki with Higgins back is a little bit. I wouldn't say it scares me, but it makes it where I don't think he's going to be used as much. He'll definitely be used, but I think he'll be used less. In this case, let me just look at my numbers here. Bills are decent against, let me see. Bills are middle of the pack against the tight end this week. And the Cardinals are probably one of the better against. So I'm going to go with Brayton Strange here for that particular pick. It's a little bit of a risk, but I don't hate it. Tight end is pretty much up in the air. Gesicki had a really good week last week. I still like him moving forward, but I think Higgins is going to take a little bit away from him this week. Kyle Flint, welcome back, my friend. Glad to see you here. Always a pleasure to have you. He goes Ayuk, Rice, DJ Moore, bench one in full PPR. For me, it's going to be DJ Moore over these two. Debo Samuel being out really helps Ayuk. George Kittle being out really helps Ayuk in a way. Rashid Rice is always a play. He should never be a question mark in my eyes. DJ Moore, I don't trust Caleb Williams right now. I don't. Will he be a volume monster? Of course. So he's definitely considered, but I do think Ayuk and Rice can have a better game overall for this. So if you're going to give me three awesome options, I'm going to be, taking away the one option that I think is kind of near the end. So he says, I also need 2 running backs in PPR from Dobbins, Brian Robinson, Ford, and Javonte. Okay. This one's a little bit more complicated just because you have a lot of guys in the middling running back 2 spot for me. I do have guys like Dobbins at 18. I have Javonte Williams at 20. I have Brian Robinson at 21. And I have Ford a little bit lower at like 27. So like I said, everybody's in that running back 2 area. For me, I do like Javonte today just because Vita Vea is going to be out. He stuffs the hole pretty good. All pun intended. He does very well at stopping the run. So for me, I'm very bullish on Javonte, being involved today. Dobbins is another guy. He's just been fully involved with their particular offense today. Pittsburgh overall is where are they at? They're like middle of the pack when it comes to. They're about 15th against the running back this year so far. So I don't hate those numbers for Dobbins. Brian Robinson is going against the Bengals, who are currently, I think, right around the same. Yeah, they're at 19, so they're a little higher. Giants, unfortunately, have been abysmal against the run. So Ford, I don't hate either. So I don't think you can go wrong here. If it's full PPR, I'm probably aiming more towards Ford and Robinson, or no, Ford and Dobbins would be my 2 that I'd probably be aiming a little higher on in this case, just because of the matchup and the involvement. I like all 3. I like all 4 of these guys. So this is a really tough one for me. So I'm going to go with Dobbins and Ford. So hopefully that helped. Recon XB, what's going on, Recon? Glad to meet you. Hope you've liked and subscribed to the show. Hopefully you're enjoying what I have to say. And like I said, if you're new to the show, make sure you're checking out the ticker below. We're going to be here pretty much every day. We even have a Saturday show that we are getting started up. It's called the Sweet Life Football, or Sweet Life Football. And we also have another show that might be coming out soon as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all of those. He goes, do I start Keon Coleman, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer, Chase Brown in the flex? Let me know if it's full or half or whatever type of league this is. If it is half PPR, so I'll go right in the middle to make things a little bit easier. I'm probably going to be. I usually like going with the running back when it comes to flex spots in certain scenarios, just because they're more guaranteed the touch comparatively to the wide receiver. But it is full PPR. Okay, so full PPR in this case. I think I might lean more Christian Kirk here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Christian Kirk for this particular matchup. I don't trust Joshua Palmer in this case, and Chase Brown he's not being used as much as we thought he might be. Gabe Davis is middling to nothing really, and Keon Coleman, I love the kid. I hope he does well, but right now it's very hard very hard to trust. So we're going to have to wait and see. So Recon goes, my team is Josh Allen, Saquon, Kyron Williams, Zay Flowers, Pickens, Laporta, and my non-existent flex that I mentioned above. Laporta is giving me a headache. I hope he delivers today. Hey, man, I do too. I have Laporta pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So I agree 100%. I hope he does well. At this point, we'll have to wait and see. Jameson Williams was a huge part of why Laporta is not doing what he's doing, because he's more involved. He's on the field more, and he's a little bit more explosive with what he does. So teams have kind of keyed in on Laporta and have kind of kept him under wraps. So this it opens things up for JMO. We'll see what happens since JMO has been doing so well. Hopefully that kind of moves all coverages to him and then kind of takes it away from Laporta. So yeah, believe me, I hope that becomes the case moving forward. Recon goes, do you think I should trade Saquon for Zach Moss and Amon-Ra St. Brown just to have Moss in the flex? Ooh. No, I don't think I would do that. I wouldn't just make a move like that to take away a top end running back talent to get. You might be getting a really good wide receiver out of that deal, but you're losing a really good running back, and those are hard to find. Pickens can definitely ramp up a little bit. I'm not like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Pickens. He's on an offense that last year for Arthur Smith was ranked 30th in the league with the QB passing to the particular wide receiver. Then they end up going out and picking up two quarterbacks on two teams that had offenses that did not pass to the wide receiver. They were 31st and 32nd for Russell Wilson and Justin Fields on the Bears. So I'm not really huge on guys like Pickens, but I just can't do a trade like that to have, you're going to have Sun God and Zay Flowers and Pickens, which would make sense. But then you're having Zach Moss and Kyron Williams, and it makes it where you then downgraded at running back to gain at wide receiver. I get it's full PPR, and that might be a little bit helpful for you, but Saquon is in his own right very good. So I wouldn't get rid of that. That's just me, though. Patrick Lario, what's going on, brother? Always great to see you here on a Sunday. He goes, pick two: Rashid Shaheed, Zach Moss, Aaron Jones, Montgomery, or Jackson Smith Njigba. I understand JSN had a really good game last week with 14 targets. Hope he continues to do well. For me, this matchup, I'm probably going to go Shaheed for sure, just because he's on fire. It's hard to not go against that particular stat line. He might not be crazy involved. He might have that 3 for 90 some odd and a touchdown. But that's what you're getting with him. Zach Moss is a little bit more stable overall, going against the Commanders. Commanders are one of the worst against the run, so I understand why people are aiming for Zach Moss in this case. I do like David Montgomery today against the Arizona Cardinals, who are actually the worst against the run. So for me, it's probably Shaheed and Montgomery more than it would be any of the others. I don't trust Aaron Jones. And Jackson Smith, until Lockett is out of the picture, I don't know if I trust him to be an every week starter for me. So I'm going to stick with Shaheed and Montgomery for my two. Recon goes, also, Kyron for Cup and Ford is another deal I have, but I'm not doing it because of Cup's return timeline. Yeah. I don't see Cup coming back for 3 weeks at least. I understand that they didn't put him on IR, but I do think that he's still going to follow the IR timeline just because it just doesn't make any sense that he would come back any earlier. They did discuss it. They said he was a candidate for it. The high ankle sprain usually is anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. And, to be completely honest, I do think that it's going to be closer to the 4-week mark. So I don't see him playing in week 4. I don't see him playing in week 5 when they have their, they have their bye. And then maybe week 6, 7, but we'll see. So that's a little tougher for me. I wouldn't downgrade to Ford either. In my opinion, you're trying to downgrade to upgrade, and that's tough. So Ray W goes pick 2: Brian Robinson, Worthy, Reed, McLaurin, full PPR, or also Stroud or Carr. Go Giants. Of course, Ray, thank you for your contribution. We really do appreciate it. All super chats, like I said, I will get to your question first. So Brian Robinson, Worthy, Reed, and McLaurin, full PPR, and I'm picking 2. So I'm going to go with Brian Robinson here and Xavier Worthy. Hard to trust Reed with Malik Willis. I think they're going to run the ball a ton. And McLaurin just is upsetting to see, but it's all Jaden Daniels. So I'm not going to go with that. Stroud or Carr, I'm going Stroud. To me, it's not close. I think Stroud is a better matchup overall, and just a better QB overall. So I think I'm going to stick with that. As much as I really like Derek Carr and what they're doing currently, I can't see myself doing I can't play Carr over Stroud. Just won't happen. But Brian Robinson and Worthy are probably my best 2 that I would go with here. So good luck, Ray. Thank you so much for your contribution. Really do appreciate that, bro. Michael Lopez goes, I have Puka in IR. Should I try to move him or hold him? Thanks again. Not a problem. If you're selling Puka, I'd probably sell him high. Well, you would have to sell him low, unfortunately, just because of the injury and the fact that he might be back after. Well, he might be a little bit longer than the 4 weeks. So I don't know if I would take lower at this point. It's based on the type of league too. If it's redraft, then I would maybe buy low. But in Dynasty, I'm not getting rid of him. I'm holding on to him until I'm holding on to him. So yeah, I wouldn't do too much right at the moment. I would kind of just hold for now, and not move him. You got to kind of hold with what you got. I have Puka in 1 league, and I'm really upset about it. It's full PPR. Yeah, I'm still holding him though. Puka, when he comes back, is going to be huge. And I think Kupp and Puka will come back at around the same time. And at that point, oh wow, so it looks like Justin Herbert is active for week 3. Okay. That's going to be fun. This is per Adam Scheffler and Ian Rappaport. He's dealing with a high ankle, so good luck to him. But yeah, I'm not getting rid of that. Nate Bennett, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you here today. Like I said, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the show if you haven't already. He goes Michael Pittman or Terry. Half PPR. I think I'm going to go with Pittman here. He is a little banged up. Terry's a little bit better. Bengals, let me see what Bengals are against the wide receiver. Bengals are 21st against wide receivers this week, or at this point, comparative to who they're playing Green Bay, right? No, they are playing Bears. Bears are pretty decent. I don't want to tell you because I don't trust Terry with Jaden Daniels. I trust Pittman a little more with Anthony Richardson, if that makes sense. And I don't really like Anthony Richardson. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Pittman though. I think Pittman might be your better bet overall. We just got word that Jordan Love is inactive today, so he won't be starting today. But Justin Herbert will. Don't get it. So Justin Herbert will be starting today. I still I'm a little shaky about him, just because high ankle sprain is going to keep him immobile, and he hasn't been really doing great to begin with. So for me, I'm gonna probably stay away from him, if anything. But I do see a very heavy run game today from the Packers, kind of what you saw last week with against the Colts. Um, Jeffrey Simmons is a lot different than the Forrest Buckner, and Buckner was hurt at the time. So for me, yeah, this is going to be an interesting game to watch. But yeah. So for those that are new to the show, I always break down as much as I can with the actives and inactives. You're going to start seeing a lot of people coming through right now. So just bear with me. We already have inactives for the Saints coming in. Taysom Hill, we already knew was going to be out today. A.T. Perry is also going to be out. It looks like Spencer Rattler will be the emergency QB today, so he's technically out. He's around, but looks like they're comfortable with Derek Carr. Bucks inactives, Vita Vea, like I said, is going to be out today. That's huge. Antonio Winfield is also out today. That's kind of a big blow to their particular run game. He is very involved in the run game and helping with that. Still waiting on more inactives. Just give me a minute as they come rolling through. Oh, this is a big upgrade for the Browns. Jarek Willis is going to be active. So they are still short Jack Conklin on the right, but they do get their left tackle back, which is huge. They've been having a rough time the last few weeks with trying to keep Watson upright. So good luck to them there. Still waiting. It looks like the Texans have, of course, Damian Pierce, who we already knew. Joe Mixon, we already knew. Looks like John Menchie is going to be out again, looking more like a healthy scratch. Damn, that sucks. Really like John Menchie. Really upset he's not doing well. Vikings inactives for Worm, who just my buddy Nick in the chat. Jordan Addison is out today, as we already know. Ivan Pace, Dallas Turner. So that's for you guys for that. Don't worry, I see your questions coming in. I'm just getting through all these actives and inactives that are rolling through at the moment. It looks like Jordan Akins is going to get the start at tight end today for the Browns. Pierre Strong is going to be out for the Browns as well. Like I said, David Njoku was out, as well as Jack Conklin. So they have a few injuries on the Browns side of the ball. Doran Thompson Robinson is going to be the third QB. Michael Pittman is active. So, he, like I said before, when I think it was Nate was asking about Pittman, he is banged up. But I'm okay with playing him today. I think he'll do just fine, especially in the matchup. But like I said, either or is that one's a tough one. Looks like Joshua Palmer is inactive today. So for those that have Josh Palmer, take him out of your lineup. He is out today. He was questionable most of the week, but there hasn't been, much said about him. So it looks like Winston Johnson will get the start for the Chargers with Justin Herbert. So remember, Justin Herbert is in today. But like I said, he has a high ankle sprain. I don't think he's going to be able to do much in the pocket. I think basically he's going to be a little nervous for anything that's going to be near his ankle, and he's pretty much just going to try to get the ball out quick, which is usually his strength. Eagles inactives, we already know about AJ Brown. Devin White is inactive again. A little strange. I haven't seen that. I'm kind of wondering what that whole situation is. They signed him and then all of a sudden make him a healthy scratch. Why keep one of your best players on the bench? Yeah. It is what it is. Still waiting for more inactives and actives. So don't worry. I see your questions. I will get to them in 2 seconds. Denzel Bart, what's going on? He goes Strains. So Barton Strange, Zach Ertz, Kobe Parkinson, Foster Moreau, pick one. Ill. First, gross. Sorry that you're dealing with that right now. And it's probably just because I get it. I lost Evan Ingram too. So I get it. Okay. Let me go to my rankings here because I need a little bit of guidance. It's hard to tell you who to pick from this group. I have Parkinson at 14 right now. I have him at 14, and I don't even have the other guys listed as potential players for this particular game. Ertz, I don't trust in any shape, way, or form. If you're going to go from the crap of the crap here, I'm going Parkinson. If you have that many options. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Parkinson. And Danzel goes DK Metcalf, or I'm assuming this is Zach Moss. If it's full PPR, I'd probably go with DK Metcalf. If it's half PPR, I might roll with Zach Moss. J.K. Dobbins or Moss. Whew. Okay. If it's full PPR, I'm going to go with the J.K. side. If it is half PPR, I might go with Moss, just because of the PPR scoring and so on. So yeah, I'd probably go with that's how I would break it down for you. So whatever it is, format wise. What up, Worm? He goes, Mikey, who should I flex? Ford, Cooper, or Brian Thomas Jr.? Remind me if it's full or half or whatever it is. I'm still going to probably lean Ford over the two of them. More guaranteed the touch. And on top of that, Giants suck against the run. It's full PPR. Yeah, I think I'm still going to go with Ford here, just because Giants suck. I understand. Yeah, they do. It's so sad. They're bad against the run this year, which is sad because Dexter Lawrence is one of the better DTs in the league. So I don't like hearing that, but it's true. Nothing crazy in this. It looks like Russell Wilson is inactive. We already knew about that. Nothing crazy for the Bears. I don't see anything else coming through. Broncos, I'm not sure. All right. So your wife wants to know. All right. Higgins or JMO? That's a great question. I think I'm going to go Jameson Williams here. I have in my rankings currently, I have Jameson Williams at 22. I have T. Higgins a little bit lower down in at 44, and it's really for the injury. Yeah, I'm probably going to bring him up to the 30s now that I have an idea that he is a lot healthier. I'd probably put him close to 34, 30. No, I'm going to have him above him. I'm going to have him above him. Okay, so 29. Yeah, he's closer to Williams than I thought, but I'm going to have Williams for this matchup. I just like him a lot better against Arizona, and he's been heavily involved each week. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Williams here for sure. All right, so I'm gonna adjust a couple things on my rankings. Got to do a couple other little fun tidbits, but keep your questions coming. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer anything that you guys have. So make sure you guys, if you have any questions, throw them in. I also am going to do some casual DFS as well. Just some value picks that I found while going through, FanDuel. I use FanDuel when I go through my particular DFS lineups. So if you do as well, I'm just going to give you guys some, little value picks that I found that might be able to help you today. So just give me 1 second as I just break down those and change over my screen for you guys. So here are my value picks for you guys going into the QBs to start. First, if you wanted to go up and spend $8,800 against Dallas, I don't blame you, or Patrick Mahomes against Atlanta, don't blame you there either. But value-wise, I'd probably go a little bit lower. I have currently Kyler Murray. Where's Murray? Oh, Kyler is at 8,300. He's the highest I would go. If I'm going to go high, I want to go with Kyle Murray. But if I want to go a little bit lower, Derek Carr against the Eagles at $7,900 is not a bad choice. I do like his value here. Baker Mayfield, QB1 so far this year, is $7,700. I like him in this matchup against the Broncos. Jared Goff against the Cardinals today out in Arizona, $7,500. Not a horrible price point for me. I'm okay with that. Brock Purdy, even without his weapons today, I do think that $7,400 for him is not a bad price point. I do think he can do well against the Rams. Most QBs have. So I do like that a lot. Now let's get into the running backs for this particular matchup. If you want to pay up for guys like Saquon or Bijan or even Kamara, go ahead if you'd like. Even Jordan Mason is a little high at 70 or at 8,300. So instead, let's find some value. And one guy that I like for value is Devon Achane. He's $7,700 today. You're never going to see him at this price again. So if you want to use him, this would be, now would be the time. Next on my list is Josh Jacobs, $7,300 going against Tennessee today. Yes, this might be the tougher of the matchups, but if we saw what we saw last week with him and his usage, I think this is going to be a good week for him. So I do like the price point to be able to use him here. I do like Montgomery a little bit here as well at $7,100. But if you want to go a little bit lower than that, Tony Pollard is a great choice here at $6,800 going against Green Bay on the other side of the ball. I don't hate this matchup for him. Tajay Spears is banged up. He's active, but he is banged up. So I would maybe roll with a guy like Tony Pollard. I also like Zach Charbonnet. This is more of a chalk situation, using him in like cash games and things like that. And, comparatively to tournaments, I think he'll be used a lot there. In this case, going against Miami, who has been rough against the running back. I also do like his particular scenario with really nobody behind him. So I do like his, and he can do everything. He can catch passes, he can run. So Zach Charbonnet for me at $6,700 is a steal. Jerome Ford, who I mentioned before, going against the Giants, $6,500. Can't go wrong there. It's a good price for him. DeAndre Swift, just a little bit lower at $6,300 as well, going against the Indianapolis Colts. I do like this price point for him. Another guy I like, and it's really just sticking to right now the numbers. Panthers are 28th worst against the run here. They even show them at 30th. Zamir White, $6,000. I'm going with it. Why not? I have no problem throwing him in if I want a lower, if I want to spend a little bit down on a running back. Next is Javonte Williams. I talked about him before, going against the Buccaneers without Vita Vea and Antonio Winfield. I do think that this is a good matchup for him at $5,900 if you want to spend down. Perfect, bro. I like it. Next would be Deontay Foreman. Stick to the Giants, $5,600. Not bad. The biggest one that everybody is going to use in their lineup. I already, we didn't get a chance to talk about our lineups last week or on our Friday show because we, were pressed up against it. I still got to find him here because he's going to be at the bottom. He's going to be at the very bottom. His name is Cam Akers. Cam Akers is going to be used everywhere today because he's only worth $4,000 on FanDuel. There he is. So $4,000 today. He's going to get the majority of touches. I see a big game for Cam Akers. Hey, what's going on there, Kevin? He goes, Big Mike, miss you, buddy. I miss you too, brother. Miss you too. Got to reach out. Got to talk some football. Can't wait to actually do that. One of the rare Cowboy fans out there that I love. If you guys haven't checked him out, make sure you guys check out Kevin Coleman on Twitter. And he is one of my favorite people in the world. So good to see you, brother. Next, we're going to go with wide receiver options. Let me get over to the wide receiver. And like I said, at the top, we have CeeDee Lamb going against Baltimore today. Justin Jefferson as well. If you don't want to spend up on these guys, some other guys that you can really look at. One guy I love today is Marvin Harrison Jr. He's $7,500. I think after this week, you're not going to see him at that price point. Get him now before he is incredibly expensive. If you want to go with Nico Collins at $7,600, I don't blame you. I'm okay with that. But another guy that I like a little bit more is guys like Rashid Rice, who is a PPR monster going against guys, going against the Falcons. I think this is a good matchup for him. But another guy in that Houston versus Vikings matchup is Stephon Diggs at $6,900. Call it what you will. It's a revenge game for him. Might as well take advantage of it. I might go with this particular scenario. We did see what he could do in the first week, and he's still involved in the red zone. Stephon Diggs, $6,900. Go for it. Next is Chris Olave, being at $6,700. That's a huge steal going against the Eagles, who have been abysmal against the pass. So for me, I'm going with Chris Olave. DJ Moore is another guy I like, and it's the matchup, it's the price point. He's at that perfect number. I don't love Caleb Williams, but I do like the fact that he's heavily involved, especially with Keenan Allen out. So I don't hate this at all. Brandon Ayuk is the only guy there. I do like his particular scenario going versus the Rams, $6,400, great price point. Rashid Shaheed has just been killing it lately going against Philly. Take advantage of this matchup. It's one of the higher matchups on the slate, 49.5 points for the over-under. I'm going with it. Jameson Williams just below him at $6,300. Great choice. I really do like him a lot. Now we're going to kind of go down a little bit and go to the 6,100 range, and this is Demarcus Robinson. He's the only guy there. He's the only guy that really seems to be trusted by Stafford. $6,100 going against San Francisco, who is banged up on both offense and defense. I do like this a lot. Another guy, if you wanted to, Xavier Worthy. He's not on my list, but I just saw him here at $6,000. Not a bad price point for him. I think he's only, he's definitely a risk, but he could be a huge reward if you use him. Another guy I like is Jalen Nailor. I know this seems weird, and why would you ever pick Jalen Nailor? He's actually being involved a lot with Jordan Addison being out. Nailor is being involved a ton, $5,900 in this matchup. Why not? The Houston matchup, I like a lot, 46, point over under. Why not? Why not give him a try? Brandon Cooks is another guy. I think everyone's been focused on Jalen Tolbert. Brandon Cooks is still involved, $5,900. I like his particular price point. Another guy I really like is Alec Pierce. I actually thought about playing him over Deontay Johnson today. I'm still kind of wavering over it. $5,800 going against Chicago. He will have less coverage, and we saw what happened. We saw what happened with Nico Collins going against less coverage in Chicago. I think that Alec Pierce could do well today. He's been doing pretty well overall. Touchdown each week. Can't go wrong. I think Alec Pierce, or I think Anthony Richardson likes him a lot. So might as well give him a try. And last but not least is Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is, where is he? There he is. $5,200 today going against the Rams. Kittle out, CMC out, Debo out. He's the next up to do a lot of stuff. He's very involved. So I do like him in a lot of if you're setting your roster up for this, he can be a really good wide receiver 3 that you can throw in there at a low price and get someone a little bit higher at the flex spot. So I do like him a lot. I do think that Deontay has a little bit more of a bounce back game with Andy Dalton involved. Dalton's a little bit quicker with getting the ball out. He's more of a field general to be able to spread the ball around. I do think that they get him and Thielen a little bit more involved today. We'll wait and see. Raiders defense doesn't scare me a ton. I do like Max Crosby a lot, but I do think that they try to get the ball out quick and do what they can to win that particular game. Worm goes starting Naylor in Dynasty. Well, by default, yeah, you kind of have had a scenario like me, my friend. I get it. Lost a lot of good talent. You lost Joe Mixon for the day, so you kind of needed to fill the void. I don't blame you. For those who don't know, Worm is a good buddy of mine in one of my Dynasty leagues. So yeah. Adrian Peterson, what's going on, brother? Great to see you. Always love that I love that tag. He goes Terry McLaurin, Alec Pierce, Najee, Quinston Johnson, Gus Edwards, DeAndre Hopkins. Start 3. So 3 that I would go with is Alec Pierce for sure. Definitely going to go Alec Pierce here. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to probably roll with Najee, and I think I'm going to go Quinston Johnston. Yeah, I don't trust Gus Edwards. I thought he would do a lot better. I was a big fan of Gus coming in, and I drafted him a ton. But I think I'm going to roll with Quinston Johnson. Stay hot with him. Alec Pierce, I really do like I just mentioned. Najee isn't a good matchup against Chargers, not great against the run. And that team is a more run-focused offense. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with those 3. So good luck today, Adrian Peterson. I hope you do well. All right. So let's get to the tight end value picks for you guys. Not a ton, just because a lot of really good tight ends are hurt today. Peterson, just gonna cry here. Got Kupp, Puka, and Ingram. So do I. I have all 3 of those in my dynasty league, and all 3 are hurt. Basically playing Tyreek Hill and Deontay Johnson at my wide receiver. And then I do have Laporta, but it has been a tough couple of weeks. So I know your pain. I feel it. I have it all over the place. I think everyone else does too. So tight ends, right now I wouldn't pay up for guys like Travis Kelce or Laporta. I would stick maybe a little bit lower. My best bet is Brock Bowers, who has just been on fire lately. I love his particular price point at $6,300. Kyle Pitts right below him at $6,200 is another guy that I really like going against Kansas City, who's had a rough time against the tight end. Another guy I like is Dalton Schultz. He is involved to a point at $5,500. Another guy I like coming back from injury is Jake Ferguson. He's going to be going against Baltimore, $5,400. That might be a tougher matchup for him just because of Kyle Hamilton. But I do think that he can be involved. I think that Baltimore is going to do their best to try to shut down CeeDee Lamb. So I think they're going to have to involve Ferguson a little more. I also like Colby Parkinson going at $5,300. So that's another guy I like as well. So Adrian Peterson goes, yeah, definitely in. Marvin Harrison Jr. playing bad game 1, and Alvin Kamara being my matchup game 2. Way to start 0-2. Hey, man. I'm trying to remember the stat that I heard, but I heard something that going 0-2 in fantasy isn't always the worst thing in the world. I think it's usually when you're like 0-4 or higher. But don't worry, you have better days coming. It's just going to take some time to rebuild and get your team the way that you need it. Believe me, being hurt right now with those guys, it definitely stings. I do have for the team that I have Puka and Kupp and Ingram out. I am doing okay with what I have and have been able to win. I did have a needless to say, a taco win for those that like the league. I had an easier team to face last week, so it made it a little easier. I did, if I faced anybody else, I'd probably lose. But matchups are definitely involved, so it's going to take some time. Yeah, that's the problem. Even if people are looking to aim for those guys, they're not going to give you what they're worth. And at that point, it's just not trading them, worth trading them. Nick in the chat, who is Worm, I traded with him to, I gave away Barkley and Barkley and a first for Puka in a second. So, he ended up getting the better end of the deal now. At the time, I thought I had him a little bit, but at the end of the day, I ended up losing one of my better running backs for him. So that's been a little bit rough, especially since he's been out for the last 3 weeks. It makes things a little bit, or last 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. It's been a little bit difficult. So, not going to lie. All right. So, no new news coming in through that. Let me get through my defensive, my DSTs of value. And then, we'll start seeing if you guys have any more questions. If you guys are starting to slow down and have no other questions, we'll start wrapping things up. But if you have any questions, please make sure you guys throw them in the chat. If you guys want your questions answered right away, don't hesitate to use that super chat. It helps the show out immensely. So make sure you guys are doing that as well. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the show, make sure you're doing that too. So first and foremost, of course, we have the Raiders at $5,000. I have no problem with this particular pick if you're looking to do that. Browns going against the Giants, 4,900. Of course, definitely not against it, but they're both chalk plays. Next, I got the Seattle Seahawks, $4,600 going against Skylar Thompson. That's not a bad matchup for me. I do like the amount, $4,600 for that. The other one I like is the 49ers going against Stafford. $4,400 since they're, they haven't been playing the same. So I do like that particular matchup and that price point. Next is the Packers going against Tennessee, $4,000. I do like this particular matchup a lot. And the Colts versus Caleb Williams, $3,800. Caleb has struggled, and so has the whole offense. So, yeah. Oh my God, Fox or CBS? Can we say neither? Red Zone. Yeah, I don't like watching either unless I have to. But if you're a YouTube TV guy and you got the Sunday ticket and you're watching all over the place, I don't know. I don't hate Tony, so don't mind CBS's broadcast, but I'm just glad that Troy and Buck are no longer there, so can definitely be thankful for that. Still gotta, you don't like Red Zone? Come on, Scott Hansen, my friend, one of the best in the business. Hey, that's just me though. Dave Eric, what's going on, man? Great to have you on the show. If you're new to the show, make sure you like and subscribe. Do you guys like Brian Robinson versus Cincinnati or Rashad White versus Denver's D this week? Thanks. Love the show. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that a lot. So let me just get out of this real quick so I don't have to worry about that. I don't hate Brian Robinson against Cincinnati. Cincinnati currently is middle of they're about 19th against the running back. Rashad White going against Denver. Denver is one of the worst teams against the run. White is hurt today. I would probably play White over Robinson though. I don't like the Commanders' offense all too much. I do think that they still have a lot to work on to get to where they need to be. I have Brian Robinson at 21 and White at 23. So, I do have them ranked a little higher, but I think I might change that around just because I think I like White a little bit more here. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go White over that. So. Joe goes, you missed most of the good games. I don't seem to miss anything when it comes to red zone. I miss little, the 1 yard run or the, that one first down. It's more your speed type thing. I have ADD. For me, going game to game is like just, it helps. Sticking to one game and watching that the whole time is always just a little bit more difficult for me. Always has been. He goes, we're on the same page. Thanks. Good luck today. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Good luck to you in your matchup. If anyone else has any questions, make sure you guys are throwing them in the chat. Don't worry, Adrian, I see your question. He goes, Marvin Harrison Jr. for Monty and Shaheed. That's not a horrible price for him. I just, if this is redraft, I'm probably not doing it. If it's dynasty, I'm smashing accept. Redraft, I don't think I'm going to do that yet. Don't think I pulled the trigger yet in redraft. Dynasty, I would in a heartbeat. You wouldn't even have to. I would just be, my phone might be broken by how quickly I hit that accept button. Oh. So Dave goes, last thing. Do you like Rachaad White better than Kyren Williams this week? Kyren is on my bench as of now. Okay. So I have Kyren at 14 currently against the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is banged up a little bit. They're going to be a negative game script, I think, in this particular one, which doesn't really help Kyren a lot. I think Rachaad White going against Denver, who is 30th against the run currently, I like a little bit more. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with I think I'm going to stick with White in this particular matchup, even though I have Kyren a little bit higher. It's more usage wise and so on and so forth. And I do these rankings to try to be as accurate as possible. So I try to not go too low, but not too high. I like White maybe a little bit more. Yeah. So, yeah, not a problem. He definitely has the better matchup. So Joe goes, nah, you need to see who's playing well and who isn't. You got to see those 2.5 yards per carry. Or, yeah. No, I look at that in the box score at the end. I don't really need to look at them playing it. I do need to see it for just how they play and their general, just gameplay in general. Sometimes I'll rewatch if I have to, but it's very hard to go through all 16 games and watch all of them. And the best way to do it is through Red Zone, where they can give you little bits and pieces of that and show you how the offense is working. Then I go through the data and double check everything and see what I like and what I don't like, snap counts and red zone targets and things like that. So Adrian Peterson goes, so in redraft, getting those two ain't worth it. To me, it's not. I'm assuming your team in this particular case, if you went Marvin Harrison Jr., you probably had a little bit of a rough scenario. You probably got him in the second round. Your first round running back might have been Bijan is my guess, or Barkley or JT, one of those two. If you went running back in the first round and you went Marvin Harrison Jr. as your first, it's not a horrible price for him, but I don't think I would do it personally. I think I would just stick with him in redraft and let him develop. I think he'll do fine this year. It's just going to take a minute for him to get out on the same page. I mean, they saw what they did wrong in week one and corrected it very quickly. So I hope they don't. I hope they didn't overcorrect to have to recorrect to get it back to like a good steady pace. But Kyler has shown that he's been doing well this year. Year removed from that ACL. I think you should stick with that, even though I love David Montgomery. I traded for him in a lot of leagues. But in this particular case, I wouldn't do it here. I think you're good with what you have. Give it another couple weeks. I think you can get more. So I would wait. Dave Eric goes, but White still pops off the screen with talent with me. He's like Kamara light. Yeah. See, that's the thing, man. I do like him a lot. I really do. I do think that White is a lot better than what people think he is. It's just, unfortunately, his yards per carry are lower. His efficiency is very low. But he's heavily involved. I think Bucky Irving has really making it where it takes away from his value overall, and it makes it harder for me to want to play someone like White. I drafted him everywhere because I really liked him this season, especially how they used him near the end of the year last year. And, it's just how he is. I do like White moving forward, but he is hurt with a groin injury that he is now off the injury report, but he suffered it, came back in, didn't really do much with it. It's a lot of game script stuff. They still use him in the passing game. So I do like him. I wouldn't call, he's definitely Kamara light in a way, but not too, I think he's like maybe a step lower than that. Yeah, he does have the ability to break a run or two, but he does get stuck behind the line. I think it's more vision. Um, I think it's his vision more than anything. When you watch him run, he tends to see a hole that ends up closing too quickly, and I think that has a lot to do with his particular O-line. I think his O-line is garbage comparative to what he had last year. I think they have a lot that they need to fix. Tristan Wirfs is great, but he's more of a pass protector than he is a run blocker. Their inside guards and such, they're not what they used to be. When Brady was there, they made sure. But he is an effective runner when he has space and is able to get out into the flat, or if they put him on a screen and stuff like that. Dave goes, he looks like he's running on ice skates smooth. Yeah, he does have smooth breaks and things like that, but the line can't block for him. He can't get into those particular blocks. He can't get into those particular lanes to go and break a run. He is quick. It's just he's more outside, an outside run guy, and they don't do a lot of outside zone stuff. They're more inside zone, and they're not even that good at that. So I think they just have to adjust things a little bit, and it's going to take some time. Any questions you have today, start sets of your own. So I do have a few that I've been muddling over for the last few days. One is Alec Pierce or Deontay Johnson. In one of my leagues, I'm going with Deontay, hoping Andy Dalton comes back to his redheaded glory, and is the Red Rifle himself. Hopefully, he's able to come back to his or channel his Bengals days and be able to do well. Trying to think my other one. I think I have one with Charbonnet and White, and I'm going with White over Charbonnet. Or sorry, I'm going Charbonnet over White in that particular matchup. Just because I have Henry and Monty, and I like Monty in that matchup, and what I have, there. I do like the matchup for White, but I like Monty a little bit more in his scenario, just because he has a better line overall. I'm between Henry and probably White at that point, just because I don't like what Henry's been doing. He's been, his scenario is all game script. And if he hopes to fall into the end zone, and hopefully they get to the 5, to run them. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough scenario. Otherwise, all my other spots I'm pretty solid on. I don't really have a lot of craziness in my lineups. I usually draft very balanced. So a lot of the moves I make are like a flex play or something like that. So okay, so Dave agrees on Deontay. I appreciate that, and yeah, Sharps over White. I have to. It just makes the most sense. I have Montgomery at 19. I have White at 21. So they're very close to me, but I like the line better for the Lions. They use them a lot more, so I like that a little bit better. Derrick Henry it's hard to tell. I'm hoping that they had a rough game against Kamara, but Kamara is not Henry. Henry is a muddling. He's not. He's a shell of his former self. So it's a shame. I really like Derrick Henry a lot. He's my prototypical running back, that monster of a running back, the Eric Dickersons of the world. So it's it's a dying breed, but thankfully guys like Braylon Allen are coming back and making it kind of worth it. No problem, Dave. Great chatting to you as well. Really enjoyed it. Killing it today. I appreciate it. He goes, last minute call. I went Tennessee's defense over the Packers D. What do you say? I don't hate that. I do think Tennessee has a good I think Tennessee has a really decent run defense. They're 16th right now against the running back only. And that's I'm using that as more of their rushing defensibility. And I think that's what the Packers will be doing today is rushing the ball as much as they can. I do think they have a decent pass rush as well, but Jeffrey Simmons will disrupt things more than you think. Packers do have a decent O-line overall. So I think that this will be a very good test. I think both defenses are pretty solid overall. I think Packers might be a little bit of a better choice just because Will Levis is a little bit more. Well, I don't know. I think they both. This is going to be a tough. Those two defenses are tough to pick from. I stick with I have the Houston Texans in a lot of leagues, so I've been running with them. But I don't mind that particular play. I think at that point, with defenses, you're pretty, it's a crapshoot. But it's based on where you want to be in that. Like if you want to be at you're always trying to aim for like just below 10, that 8 number. And if you get better or worse, then, you're okay. So he thinks Willis may be under more pressure. Yeah, I think so. He goes, run D makes sense. Yes, my thinking as well. I'm betting on Willis making mistakes. I think both are going to make mistakes. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game overall. This game is currently, where were they at? They're at 37.5. I mean, I think this is the second lowest. Steelers are the lowest right now. Yeah, it's the second lowest over under on the slate. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree that this might just be a good defensive battle, which is good for defenses. So I'm not against that at all. So I think you're good on either side of the ball. It's really just who you think might make more mistakes. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, boys and girls. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you guys are throwing that in the chat. I will be answering questions at least until I have no other questions to answer. And then I'm going to wrap things up. For the time being, make sure you guys are checking out our other channels as well. We have Kendall with the Fantasy Football Tavern. He's with me every Friday to do the start sit first part. So if you're looking for some hot takes and some cold beers, make sure you guys subscribe to Kendall's show, the Fantasy Football Tavern. His link is in the description, so make sure you guys like and subscribe to his show. Make sure you guys also check out Phil Ruskin at the Extra Point. He joins Rasta every week on Friday, and as well he has his own show on Thursday, right before Thursday night kickoff. Everyone likes to score touchdowns, but you got to come out and kick the extra point. So tune into the Extra Point with Phil Ruskin live every Thursday. So make sure you guys subscribe and like to their show as well. All their stuff is in the description below. And of course, we have Tycoon in the Fantasy Boardroom, who's here every Tuesday as well. If you're new to the channel, which I've met a lot of nice people today, Dave and so on, make sure you guys check out the other shows that we have as well. We're here every day pretty much, except for Saturday. We are coming out with a show on Saturday. It should be coming soon. So keep an eye out. We're going to have a new thing eventually. But we'll be here on Monday to help you with waiver wire targets. That's at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. Eastern. God, West Coast. Tuesday with Tycoon, 7 p.m. Pacific, at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday, you'll have Roster and Frank back. They will be doing their buy low, sell high targets. So if you have any trade questions, roster management, they will be here on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. But don't worry, you can always watch our show again. It's always, available for you, even if you miss the show. Then Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern for the extra point. He will be there to help with, Phil will be there to help you guys prior to the Thursday night football game. I got to tell him he's got to fix this. Oh, never mind. I see what he did. So we have Friday, we have the part 1 and part 2. So we have 2 shows, one with me and one with Rasta. One is at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then the next show bumps up right next to it, which is our 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. And that is our start sit show where we'll answer your start sit questions then. And of course, on Sundays, I'm going to be here to help you with your last minute lineup questions. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Also, make sure if you haven't already, if you are looking to do some prop betting and things like that, if you guys like, best ball and so on, Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. I enjoy doing their best ball tournaments all year. I'm in a bajillion of them right now. No waivers, no trades, and no weekly lineup setting. You can draft hundreds of teams if you want. If anything, you can help prepare for your understanding of values and ADP for regular home leagues. They also have their pick'em contests, which they have available. One of their biggest, when you register, is the free CD Lamb at 0.5 total yards. Make sure you go sign up using promo code GetRight in particular states that allow it. Not only will you receive 50% deposit match now up till $1,000 in bonus cash. Any deposit exceeding $2,000 will be capped at $1,000. So be aware of that. So go visit underdogfantasy.com or download the fastest growing app that's out there. So make sure you guys check out Underdog Fantasy. All right, boys and girls, we are going to be wrapping this up. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So please make sure you guys check out all the things that I mentioned before. Also, I know it's kind of midway through the season, but if you're also looking for making yourself a trophy for your particular league, check out TrophySmack.com. They got awesome trophies like this one. They are great people as well. Got to meet a bunch of people at the expo. Also have their customized chain, the ring, and of course, they're most famous for the belt. But make sure you guys check out TrophySmack.com and they will help you. Make sure you're using Get Right at checkout. They'll help you out. All righty. So for everybody this week, thank you so much for joining me today. We will be back here tomorrow night to help you guys with waiver wire ads. So make sure you guys check us out then. I will be back on Friday. So keep an eye out for alerts. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the show if you haven't already. I appreciate everybody that joined me in the chat today. Dave, who else do we have? We had Dave. We had Joe, of course. We had Adrian Peterson, my buddy Worm, as well as Kevin Coleman. Make sure you guys check out Kevin Coleman on Twitter. One of the best out there. Is working with Fantrex and a few other places as well. Danzel Barton, thank you so much for coming. Michael Lopez, Ray, as always, Ray W, thank you. Patrick Ilario, Recon, Kyle Flint, Michael Lopez, George Play, Jay Bells, Sean vs. Sean. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. Really always appreciate you guys coming in. So really do appreciate it. So, everybody, good luck on your week 3 matchup, unless you're going against me. I'll see you guys next time. Hope everyone has a great week 3. Peace.
Wanted to white fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.